Alright, in today's video, we're going to be building a patio cover slash pergola, or whatever you want to call it. Basically, I just wanted protection from weather for my toolbox that I want to put under this, just so the rain and sun doesn't mess it up. And it was pretty straightforward to build. All you really need is some 2x3s, 2x4s, and 4x4s. And then as for tools, you're going to need a saw, a pencil to mark some stuff, a tape measure to measure some stuff, and a straight edge helps to mark straight lines and hold the saw straight while you're cutting. It just makes it really clean cuts. So basically, after measuring, I just got to cutting. This is the frame, so the 4 posts that are going to be up. And this was kind of hard to do by myself just because it was so heavy. You can see I had to drill it on the ground with the 2x3 to the 4x4s. And getting it up by myself was a little bit of a struggle just because the wood was wet from Home Depot for whatever reason. And it just made it that much heavier. But I got it to work. And you can see here, this is basically the frame. I lifted the front frame piece higher than the rear so the rain would slide off the back. And I mounted the 2x3s on the sides with some joints or metal anchors, whatever they're called, I don't really know. But anyway, I painted those black just so they look a little bit better. And I held the 2x3 up with a 2x4 so it would wedge it up and hold it for me. And I basically just copied the same thing on the other side, and I had the frame set up. On to the next step, which was cutting these 2x4s, which are the rafters for the frame of the patio cover. This is where the roof is going to lay on top of. So I just cut these all exactly to the same size, and you can see the first one mocked up there. And that was the frame basically initially set up and holding itself up. You can see pretty good here the joints that I painted black. I thought that looked a lot better, especially because I'm going to be staining this black. And that first 2x4 is how the rest of the 2x4s are going to be. I believe there ended up being 8 of them. So yeah, I went ahead and just drilled all the anchors into the exact same level, or straight measurement all the way across on both sides. And then I went ahead and mounted the 2x4s into them. You can see here I'm literally hanging off the 2x4s to get them to seat into the joints. This was because the measurement or the cuts I made were basically perfect, so I had to really wedge them down into there. And due to that, I didn't have to put any screws into the joints, so that made that nice, and it just held itself in there. And I was missing 2 more 2x4s here. I had to go buy some more for the end pieces, and you can see that here. You can see here, now that this was done, I went ahead and slid the roofing on, basically as a mock-up. I didn't really film that much, but I'll show that more in a little bit. Now it was time for the stain. I went ahead and used ebony stain from Home Depot. It looks pretty good. It still shows the grain in the wood while also being pretty dark. Better than true black, in my opinion, just because the true black really covers all the wood grain. You don't see anything. So after that was all applied, we can move on to the further steps. But for now, my girlfriend and I just went ahead and painted this all on. At this point, most of the stain was complete. You can see on the right side that I didn't completely finish it because I wanted to mask off that side. But this is what it's going to look like. All of this is dried. The top rafters are a little bit darker than the 2x3s on the side. It's just not applied as heavy on the lighter sides, which I think looks better. It shows the grain a little bit more. And yeah, that's basically what all that is going to look like. So then it was time to apply the roofing onto the top. That was pretty straightforward. You just slide the roofing on. I used tinted black plastic roofing from Home Depot. It ended up being a little bit over 20 bucks a sheet, and I needed 4 of them. I only bought 3 to see if I could pull it off, but I need to go get a 4th one to fill that left side. But it shows what it's going to look like. On the top, I left about a 6-inch overhang, and on the back, I left another 6-inch overhang just to slide all the rain off, and you can see the slope of the roofing here. I used roofing screws for that. And yeah, so you can see back here, there is that overhang to just make sure that any water would go all the way off, and it looks pretty good. Now that everything was completely finished, I wanted to do the final addition, which was Edison bulb lighting that I wanted to hang from the 2x4s up above. I used some zip ties for this. I would have used staples, but I just didn't have them. And yeah, I just had these lying around, and I think they look really good and really wrap up the whole area. Definitely will be way nicer working at night, right over the toolbox. And yeah, so that's basically everything that needed to be done. Hopefully this helped you in some way if you plan on building one of these yourself.